Hey, it's your girl Barbie J. Welcome to my channel. Hey there, my Tyler Perry Zatima fans. We are back. That's right, we are back with the recap and review of Zatima Season 4, Episode 11, Protect and Serve. And the synopsis for this episode reads, Zach extends a helping hand after Connie's fire. Angela begins to fall for Fatima's new bodyguard. Ooh, Lord, that darn Angela, she just too fast and too much. Anywho, before we get started, if you're new here, returning here, and have not subscribed to this channel as of yet, please take a moment right now and hit that subscribe button, then hit the notification bell and select all. It'll let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel. Then I ask that you smash that like button, write a comment and join the conversation, and then share the video because sharing is caring and you want to help this sister's channel grow. Anywho, this episode starts off with Fatima coming home. And of course, she's met by Deja, and Deja's messing with her like she always does, But then she showed general concern when she saw the hospital bracelet on her. But Fatima act like she shouldn't have been asking her that. Like, you see me standing here, but like Deja said, that don't mean nothing. You could still have something wrong with you. But then she was teasing Fatima about having a side piece, some big husky dude and all this stuff. And Fatima was like, Zach ain't husky. She's like, okay, play like you don't know what I'm talking about. That's okay. I'll keep you a secret. I won't say nothing. Fatima was like, you know what? I ain't got time for you. She goes in the house and this big dude is sitting on the couch. She pull out her gun and it's a bodyguard that Zach sent for her. So we find out his name is Charles, and she asks him what are his hours. He said, I'm here whenever Mr. Taylor's not here. She's like, oh, Lord, okay. Meanwhile, we see Connie sifting through the stuff from her apartment that had the fire, and she finally breaks down and calls Zach and tells him what happened. And Zach is like, why didn't you say anything? And she said she only told Tony, and she told Tony not to tell anybody. And he got mad because Tony didn't tell him. Tony was keeping her promise, you know what I mean? So he told her to stay there and that he would come and get her. So then he called Fatima and told her that he wasn't going to be home early because he had to go see Connie. And she was like, are you freaking kidding me? So Fatima got annoyed because they were supposed to have an early evening together and eat together and things like that. But it wasn't going to happen. But he said it was important that she was doing bad. She's in trouble or something like that. And Fatima's like, fine. So Fatima calls Angela to come over to, one, vent about the bodyguard, and two, to sit down and eat with her since Zach wasn't going to be there. And Angela's like, do we have to roll up somewhere and do a drive-by? She's like, it ain't nothing like that, girl. Just come on over. When Angela comes over, oh my gosh, she's excited about the bodyguard. He's like, I'm going to have to frisk you, ma'am. She was like, fine. She's like, do a thorough job. She's just so horny all the time. She bending over, wanting him to pat her down any and every place. And Fatima is rolling her eyes up in her head like, really, Angela? Oh my God. But I got to tell you, I actually thought that was funny. I really did. So while Fatima and Angela are sitting down eating, Angela keeps saying things to basically stress Fatima out. You're supposed to keep Fatima calm and stress-free, but you putting things in her head like he's out there with his ex biatch and they might be doing something and you letting them get away with this and maybe we need to roll up and do something. And it was like, she's like, Angela, stop. She said, I really hope that Connie is okay, and she's like, whatever. I was like, oh, Angela, stop being an instigator, causing problems. You ain't helping your friend. So then a few minutes later, Zach comes in the door and the bodyguard grabs him and twists his arm. He didn't realize it was Zach. He said, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Taylor. So Zach goes over to Fatima and Angela's at the table too. And he asks, can Connie spend the night there one night? And Fatima gives him a look. And Angela makes some weird sound like, huh? And then you see Connie come in with her stuff in a garbage bag. And she goes, hi, Fatima. Meanwhile, in another part of town, we see Jeremiah going to a rehab center saying, my brother paid for me to get a special treatment, but I wasn't ready back then. I'm ready now. And the nurse is like, I'm sorry, Mr. Matthews, but it doesn't work like that. Once you left out of here, your brother lost his deposit and his money. I said, ain't this some BS right here? He put down thousands, I think, and y'all just gonna keep the money and y'all never gave the man any kind of treatment. So Jeremiah walks away like, I got to do something. I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to be like this. And then the lady came up to him, the nurse or whatever, and said, I think there's another type of program I can help you get into, but it won't be the nice one that your brother signed you up for. This one is going to be hard and stuff. He said, I'll go. I'll try it. I'll try it. So she took him into a back room, and he was in the bed, had the shakes and everything going on, and she came in there saying she needed to give him some other kind of drug. And he's like, I don't want any kind of drugs and stuff. She said, I have to give you this. She said, because if you start getting a real violent shakes and stuff, we're going to have to call a hospital and they're definitely going to have to medicate you. So he said, okay, he'll trust her and take whatever drugs she wanted to put into his arm. And then after she did that, he said, can you hold my hand while I pray? He said, because I don't want to live like this anymore. And he was praying, saying, God, help me. Like, he don't want to live like this. And y'all know this is all because in the last episode, he saw his mother and she came to him saying, you're carrying on my addiction. And she basically was telling him he needs to get clean. This is not who he is. His brother loves him. And basically, all the words she was saying to him is what gave him the courage to go back to the rehab place to get cleaned up. And I got to tell you, that part was touching to me. I'm telling you, there was a lot of very touching scenes in this episode. And y'all know that whole thing with Connie having breast cancer. Y'all know that Barbie J had it 2 times. So this hits very close to home for me. So now back at the Taylor household, Zach is telling Fatima everything that Connie's going through. She's like, oh my God. She was like, I feel so bad now. He said, I know. And she asked, why didn't Connie say anything? She said, because she didn't want to be a burden to anybody. She didn't want to bother people. So then we see Angela over there with Connie, and she notices the port on Connie's chest, and Connie tries to cover it up. And she said, I understand fighting cancer is hard. But she said, my aunt beat it 5 years ago. And Connie's like, she did? She said, yeah. So Angela sat down and said, let's call it a truce. I'll back off. She said, check it out. I don't need your pity. I can handle it. And Angela said, I know you can. And Biatch, I didn't say forever. Just for a little while till we get you better. And Connie looked at her and said, thank you, Biatch. And I started laughing. I was like, oh my goodness. So then Fatima came over and let Connie know that she's not a burden. And then Zach told the bodyguard he could go home. And Angela said, well, let me go with him so he could walk me to my car and make sure I'm safe. Meanwhile, they had been flirting the whole time. If none of you had noticed it, go back and watch. And Zach was like, oh, Lord. He closed the door and said, Fatima, that's your friend. She off the chain, that daggone Angela. So then Fatima asked Connie, was she hungry? She said, I could eat. And so they fed her and went to bed. All of a sudden, later on in the night, they hear something moving around in the kitchen. Zach grabs his gun, and he and Fatima go downstairs to find Connie throwing up on the floor or laid out by the kitchen. And they're like, oh my God. And they sit her up. And this part is what gets me because Fatima asked her, oh my God. She said, how progressive is this? And she's like, it's bad. And then she said, I'm not going to make it. And Fatima's saying, don't say that as she's wiping the vomit off of her face and stuff. She's like, you don't understand. My mother had it. My grandmother had it. And they didn't make it. She said, they didn't have us. We got you. And she was like, it hurts. And she cried and rolled over into Fatima's arm. And Fatima held her like she was her baby. And she cried in Fatima's bosom. And Zach put his arm around both of them. And I was just like, this is too much for me. I was in here crying right along with her because y'all know what I've been through. This was just really too much, and it was very touching. And I'm telling you, Layla Odom played that damn role. She played that role. She was crying, and I was crying, and it just made me think about what I went through. And I thank God that I'm still here. But the scary part is, in 2 weeks, I have to go to the doctor again and get checked out to find out if I'm still cancer free or not. So I'm asking y'all to pray for me. Hopefully, I am still cancer free, and I'm claiming that I'll be cancer free. So, y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Put it down in the comment section, and I will see you all in the next video. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. It's your girl Barbie J saying peace.